What's up, boss?
Okay, we're here with Tim Schmoyer, Tim and Dana, and we are starting, we're going to do a little tour of your place, but we're starting in this, which is your workspace and studio, and you built this room, and this is right off of your garage. So we're starting inside the garage of your place. Would you tell us about how you use this space? You might want to start by telling us what your business is and telling us how you use this space and what you did to make this business what it is. I mean, this room, this space, what it is.
Well, so I started on YouTube back in 2006, a couple months after it was started. And I just wanted to introduce my girlfriend at the time to my family back home. I was in seminary down in Dallas and started dating this girl. And YouTube had just started a few months before. I'm like, oh, I could use YouTube to introduce her to my family. And so we started making videos of us going out on dates, of us going out to the park, going out to movies. Yeah, it was actually, and on the audio, you're not going to be able to see this, but this is the very first camera. It's a little 8mm. This is the one I used. I was a youth pastor at the time, so I think this was youth group's camera then.
Oh, my goodness.
But that's what we used. And then I figured out how to get the footage off the camera onto YouTube, and we started making what today would be known as vlogs. Back then, that wasn't a word. It was just being awkward in public with a camera.
Wait, so Dana, were you part of this thing, or was it like this guy's asking me on dates and filming them?
Yeah, I wanted the dates.
Okay.
So that just came along with it.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I was being in youth ministry. I really liked reaching people and changing their lives, but we started seeing more, the short stories, we started seeing more of that happening in what we were doing on YouTube than I ever saw in 12 years of vocational ministry. And I was like, if I really want to reach people and change their lives, I think YouTube might be a better place for what God's asking me to do than it is inside of a local 501c3 organization thing. And so here we are with the agency, a small agency. I've done YouTube strategy for Disney, done it for Warner Brothers, done it for eBay, done it for Budweiser and HBO, and collectively with our clients, we've grown to over 18 billion views on YouTube.
Crazy.
And 81 million subscribers for our clients. And so after seeing the amount of impact we were having, just us, I was like, we can scale our impact. Like, I'm reaching my 1 million people a month, but what if I could help other people reach their 1 million people a month with messages that I don't have, you know? And businesses that serve people in ways that I can't. So that's what we dove into.
Okay, so let's talk about the property in general. Okay. When did you come on to this piece of property? When did you buy this place?
It's been about 2.5 years now. In March. It'll be 3 years. It's almost 3 years now in here.
And I'm going to assume that when you saw this piece of property and bought it, actually I know this because Tim just told me this over lunch, but you thought this fits in with where our family is going. This makes sense, which is exactly why we're talking to you, because we want to hear from families who have purposefully taken a piece of property and said, this fits with our family vision, and we're going to make sure that the piece of land does that. So let's start with this room. And what did you do to this room to make it fit your family vision?
Well, I think
how do you use it?
I think it might be easier to start with the vision.
Okay.
And then, here's how it fit.
Great.
Because I think if we start with the vision, then I think that property makes a little bit more sense.
Yep.
So if we were living on our 0.29 acres in a HOA development, which was fine. It was good. It's what we needed at the time. We had 7 kids in 8 years. And at that time, we had 4 kids ages 2 and under. So it was an intense season, and we needed not much more to take care of other than 0.29 acres in an HOA neighborhood. Right? That's what we needed for that season of life. But as that season started coming to a close, we were having a bigger vision for hospitality, a bigger vision for what the business could become, and things that we were bumping into with limitations of our space. And because my office there was right by the front door, that made it hard to record and do client stuff and things. So
and 7 kids in a house makes it hard to record in a house.
Yeah.
So.
Large family.
We were like, okay, we need a place where my office can be separate from the house but still on the property. So we needed, like, what if we had a place that had an external garage, and I could build or create something out there, so I could still be at home but not in the same building. And then her stress levels significantly reduced because she doesn't have to try to keep all the kids quiet and calm whenever I'm on a call all the time, right? So that was part of it. You want to talk about the agriculture part
The
of
agriculture stuff?
side of it? Yeah. Being fruitful, we want to be fruitful, multiply, and a lot of that was ruling over like the land God had given us and make it more fruitful. And there was only so much we could do in an HOA. They wouldn't let us do a lot of things.
We could have a little garden, which is a good start because we're still learning a lot about gardening and everything.
Like a little city garden, little 4x8 space
yeah, a
or
little
something.
teeny tiny thing. Because
Yeah.
I have good memories from childhood of helping my parents in the garden,
Great.
and so that was fun to at least get started and let the kids play with dirt and plants and stuff and see what happens. And so wanting to find a place that we could actually do a little bit more, because with a family of 9, I think we would have had, I don't think the HOA would have approved of what we needed to,
What we were
Right.
looking,
to actually
yeah.
provide for our family. So more land provided us a space to start practicing even more, trying to provide for ourselves.
And then there was the hospitality side of what we wanted to do too.
Yeah, do you want to do that now or when we get over to the house?
We wanted a place where we have this vision for, like, what if missionaries needed a place to stay for a little bit?
Well, that came when we saw this place.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah.
Because
so-
originally we were thinking we wanted a place that would have space for in-laws if it came to the day where we needed to take care of.
Our parents.
Parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then so when we started, was it a little over 3 years ago? We started just trying to figure out, like, what do we want? We know we want more space. We know we want some land. What does that mean? So we went out with a friend, and I think we saw a farm that had over 100 acres. And then we were like, all right,
was
and then
amazing.
we'll see a place that has 5 acres, and we'll see, like, how much is that actually? And so we went to the 100-acre farm first, and then came over here to 5 acres. We're like, this is a lot more.
Well,
our
and I
speed.
Doable.
And I'm kind of tethered to the city because I need
Right.
fast enough internet for the business. And as soon as we got out there to the 100+ acre stuff, it was,
Too far away.
yeah, this internet wasn't sufficient for what I needed us to do. But you're right. I remember, like, and we wrote that document too of, like, let's flesh out, like, what do we need in a property and a vision that would serve our family really well before we even went house hunting. And I could still probably pull that up.
That
in
is
Google-
fascinating.
Google Docs. I stole that from Justin Wolfenberg. I think you guys.
Of
know
course,
him. Yeah.
Justin,
Yeah,
hero.
Because I was talking with him, and he's like, yeah, you need to write this out rather than going, ooh, this is cool, and you end up with a big fancy house that doesn't really serve your vision. So it's like,
Terrific.
start with the vision first. So I remember
Yeah, we
that
did
was an
that.
exercise we did, and then we came here, and then to your point, like, this not only met everything on there, but it actually exceeded
Right.
everything.
It gave you new ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
new ideas that were like, oh, we didn't even think about doing this. So,
Yeah. We can talk about those.
So we're in the detached garage.
So now we're in the detached garage with my office built out here, my studio. Yeah. So, yeah.
And what is this? What is this for people who are just listening? What does this room do? What are we looking at here?
This room gives me a place to go work away from the family, but not totally away from the family. Like, it's some good boundaries so that Dana and the kids can still do what they want to do in the house and not have to worry about volume and loudness and things. And I can be out here in a fairly well insulated, sound-wise, studio and do what I need to do. And it gives some separation between work and the home a little bit as well. Not as much as it should, but that's my fault, not the space's fault. And
But you
Yeah.
created a space that it's your office, so you can do your day-to-day stuff, but then it's also a place where you have it set up at all times,
Yeah.
so that when you need to shoot a video, there's no, like, putting everything
No
together
hurdles.
and no tear down.
yeah, that was a big time suck in our old place because I had to set up and tear down every time.
Oh.
And now I can just leave it set up. All I had to do is turn on the TV monitor, turn on the camera, hit focus, and record. And it takes about a minute and a half maybe.
And then
I'm
now
ready to
this
go.
year, it's also been used by other people to come
Yeah.
in and shoot
Which I
as
hadn't
well.
anticipated, but that's cool.
Yeah, so we're in about like a 12 by 24 size room, something like that.
It's a 20 by 18. I
Okay,
think.
20 by 18. And you've got room here to do a camera shoot so that you could be standing up or sitting and working with a monitor. You could be standing at a whiteboard. You could be sitting at your computer doing videos and whatever with folks. And I see it's such a nice quiet spot.
That's
That-
where Dana works. Yeah,
that's-
or
Sometimes-
kids come do homework.
That schoolwork
they do
could be done here,
homeschool
yeah.
there if they. Yeah, usually our almost 9-year-old turns 9 tomorrow, as you've heard about 15 times. She turns 9 tomorrow. She comes out here and does her school out here with me because she works a little bit better when she's not distracted inside the house. So
It's separate from the house. You've got sound insulation. You've got several places where there's lights hanging from the ceiling, so you could do different things with lights. And you've got, whatever mics and stands and stuff you need in here, and so it works for your business.
It does.
But it's also part of your home.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's proceed into the garage.
All right, our garage. We got cars, bikes, baby strollers, jump ropes on the floor. Careful you don't trip.
You've got this came with the large family kit. You get the big van with tons
Ford
of seats.
Transit. Yeah.
This was actually one of our favorite things. Was the garage actually fits our 15-passenger van?
Yeah, that's a winner.
So it's high enough. Most houses, you can't find that.
It's one of those things we didn't care about when you got here. You're like, oh, we can load up the kids in the warmth
Inside.
because the garage is heated.
And
so it's like I said, it was not on our list. It was like, oh, we didn't think about that.
And it's wide. Now I'm gonna recognize something because I know what they're for. I see a bunch of folding tables and folding chairs in your garage. Why would somebody have all of this
That's
fold away chairs?
That's something we've been collecting since we moved to this house so that we can, mostly we use it for Friday nights when we host Shabbat dinners here. We try to keep it maxed to about 30, including our family. So that means only 21 other people can come. But when we first started it out, I think we grew it to about 60 or 70 people at one point.
When the weather's nice, we do more because we're hosting outside instead of inside, and we have a lot more room.
But the house is set up. I mean, we have the space to entertain. We've got space downstairs for the kids to go and play, and good space for the parents to hang out and visit.
Originally, I guess we'll talk about when we get inside, but yeah.
There's a nice wide concrete pad between the house and the garage, and that's where these folding tables go and the chairs, and it turns into like outdoor party world when you have your open Shabbat meals. And that happens how often?
About twice a month.
Okay.
Unless we need an extra break, and then
Right.
we'll just postpone it for a little bit.
Right.
So our family comes first with that, of just making sure we're taking care of ourselves.
Very good.
So
So now we're in another part of the garage, which looks like Tim's construction world.
It's kind of like our barn.
And hay bale
yeah.
storage.
Yeah, barn slash workshop, I guess you call it, and also doubles as where I do my guys' night hangouts here. That's why there's a gas fire pit.
The dudes
here.
love this environment.
Yeah,
don't they?
it's a lot better
Your
than sitting
four-wheeler
in
here.
couches and trying to make eye contact inside. We can sit around out here and not have to make eye contact, just stare at the fire while we talk about life,
Yeah.
But so that we take the folding chair or the lawn chairs, or what are those called? Folding?
Camping chairs?
Camp chairs.
Yeah, and we set them up around the gas fire pit in here, and it warms up a little bit too, which is nice in the winter.
Now you're kind of out in the sticks. How far do your friends come for this guys' night?
Oh, guys' night? Well, same with the women's night. Come for like a 20-minute radius approximately.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so
how many dudes do you put here in the garage?
it depends. Last time it was me and 4 or 5 others, something like that. During the summer, we do it at a fire pit outside with like actual wood, stuff.
Yeah.
And there'll be more people when
Okay.
it's warmer out. So I'm thinking like 8, 9. So it's not like a large group.
Yeah.
Just a good amount
Yeah.
where everyone can talk and everyone knows
Yes.
each other. We have a good discussion about. I call it my life processing group.
That's
You know,
great.
it's not my spiritual formation type of group. It's like, here's something I'm succeeding at, or here's a challenge I'm facing.
Right.
Can we do like a mastermind? You guys help me figure out some next steps, and we all do
great.
that for each other.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and the woodworking stuff, that's what I do for my hobby when I'm tired of just moving pixels around on a screen. I can come out here and do something
Build
tangible
furniture.
with my hands that makes me feel like I'm actually
Like you're actually making
I'm actually
something
doing something
tangible.
Yeah.
And we ate at one of your creations.
Yes, we
that
did.
table was
Yeah.
impressive.
That was his first project.
Unreal.
Yeah, again, that Justin guy helped me build that one because I hadn't built anything since like first grade prior to that table.
Oh, wow. There's a full bath here
There is,
in the
there's a shower.
bathroom. I don't know why you would ever need to shower after getting out of the car. I mean, oh, it's if you mow and you don't want to smell like grass when you come inside.
Or
Okay.
when we have all the guests over, they can get that when we're outside at the pool or whatever.
Uh-huh.
That one gets wet and messy
Oh, I see.
and everything. And so you keep
Could
all
be a
the
changing room for
all
the
the
pool.
mess from the pool and
Okay.
gardening and stuff out in the garage rather than trucking it inside.
Yeah, I have to make, now we're in the concrete space between the garage and the house, and I have to make the observation that if you're here in the summertime for the open Shabbat, and you've got the pool here, and we're surrounded by 5 acres of field, it's a pretty good invite to come to this open Shabbat and jump in that pool and mess up your house and eat your food.
Yeah, and we've
Sounds
set it up.
pretty
We've
good.
got great flat spot for the kids to play with the trampoline and a large rope swing over there.
And a creek down by the woods. and stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's all fenced in.
Basketball
so
hoop
parents
that
feel a little more
blew over.
comfortable.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was going to comment on why is this little patio fenced in right outside your
We didn't
garage
build that.
here?
That's from the previous owners. That's the so my office used to be the dog kennel.
Oh, I see.
And that door opens right up to that, and so we haven't figured out what to do with that spot yet.
Okay.
It'll be a
I thought about
future hot tub
Building a
spot.
shed
Yeah.
there, or maybe a
Sell
hot
the
tub, I don't
fence.
A fenced hot tub so no one
know. Yeah.
bothers you while you're hot
So
tubbing.
no strangers want to run in and try to get into the hot tub. Now, tell me the clever thing that you did over here. You'd said that this is normally garden space, but here we are in the winter, and it's not garden space. It's covered by chickens.
Yeah. So
How
during
many chickens you got?
I think we have like 20 some left. I forget.
Started
Well,
with
let's walk over and see if we can get any sounds out of them.
Yeah. So I really like creating systems that are fruitful, where you kind of set it up and then it just keeps being fruitful over and over and over again, with maybe even little to no intervention from me or from us. And one of those is the garden. So we were introduced to a concept called
more
Back to
garage.
Eden, it's called.
That's the line.
Where this guy, I'll electrify the fence. You can. But yeah, so basically what happens here with the chickens is they give us eggs all year long, although not as much in the winter. We don't do the artificial light thing, and so what they're going to be doing is just on top of our garden, they scratch it, they till it, they eat all the bugs out of it, they fertilize it, and then in the spring we're ready to plant. Like, we don't have to do all that hard work ourselves to get it ready. It's just ready. So we plant it, and then we'll put some wood chips down or cardboard between the rows so that weeds don't come up.
Huh.
And then we just wait for stuff to grow, and the soil's so amazing. It just grows like crazy.
You won't have to till it in the spring?
No.
Wow.
They do all that for us.
I'll be
Right now
darned.
the ground's frozen, so
Yeah.
we're not doing much of that now.
Yeah.
But
But it'll be worked over.
yeah, and if you saw the before picture, you'd already see how much it is,
I'll
like
be
how much
darned.
they've done. We cut off the strawberry patches from them because they'll eat all the strawberries plants, so we don't want them to do that. But everything else, yeah, they just get it right for us, so that all we have to do is come out and plant some seeds and make it fruitful and
Terrific.
get eggs in the process.
And there's free eggs.
Yeah.
Look, I like the black one that has like a blue sheen. It's like an anime chicken.
Oh yeah, the black ocelops.
Yeah.
And then down here on the hill, we actually raised and processed all of our chicken meat for a year.
What?
And 2
No,
months.
you did not.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we got pictures of it.
Killing chickens?
Yeah, we got 30 chickens that we processed, and yeah, that's our freezer in our basement's full of chicken now. And we have organic, free range,
Oh my goodness.
expensive chicken that we raised and processed ourselves. And the kids helped with that. They're a
And
part
those
of a
are
lot of
what?
this with us.
10 or 12 weeks from birth to 8?
Yeah, 8.5 technically is what you want to process them
I'll be
at.
darned.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it's about 2 months of work, and then we had all our chicken for the year.
Are there four-wheeler trails throughout these woods?
Kind of. We make our own. I wouldn't say that they're supposed to be there, but,
Okay.
but that's kind of part of the fun of it too.
All right. Sure.
Is making your own trails.
Now, before we go into the house, when you saw this house from the outside, when you were driving up, by the way, I noticed we were on a dead end. We were on a dead end road, and we were still a mile away from your house. And I thought, well, they don't get a lot of road traffic going by here. So when you finally found this place, what did you think about it when you saw it from the outside? What was your
I don't know what my initial thought was. Big? Wow, can we afford this place? Like, this seems ridiculous. It had a pool that was not on our list of things we wanted.
Seemed like a stretch.
Yeah.
We didn't want the pool because of the safety thing, but then COVID came, and we're like, oh, the pool was a really good idea because now our friends want to come hang out here.
Uh-huh.
You know, so I didn't think of a pool as a community building piece beforehand until we actually experienced them. Like, oh, like the pool actually is a place where we all sit around, the kids have fun, and we have adult conversations.
Yeah.
But not in the sense like we're gonna have a small group Bible study type
Uh-huh.
of thing, you know. So I thought it worked out well.
Yeah. The part that sold me on this place was our apartment, which we can't go in right now because we have somebody staying there. But that was what we were thinking of was going to be like when our in-laws would need a place to stay later on, possibly. And so then this past year, this has been like our nicest place that we've kept company when they come and visit. But then this past year, we had the opportunity to actually rent it out. And so we have a monthly renter that rents it out. And then in between, when they don't need it, they still do the fee. We actually will put it up on Airbnb.
Wow.
So it's also making an income for us, which is
And are there
been
common
amazing.
doors for it into the house?
They have their own entryway
Wow.
right here by the front.
And then the door between the house is just locked. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's been really fun to get to meet different people that typically wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Right.
and it almost pays our mortgage. You know,
if it's rented out for the full month.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Well, I was talking with Michael and Samantha Boshiger this past month, and they're finding that when they incorporate people into the normal rhythms of their family and their normal family space, that there's much more opportunity for influence and disciple making than if you go to some third location.
Oh, totally. It's just more natural, and people don't think of it. They don't put it in that disciple-making category. It's more of a we're hanging out, getting to know people,
Yeah.
and get discipled in the process.
Yeah. All right, show us around this house and tell me how you
All
use
right.
it.
So coming right in, the entryway. We got our family vision kind of thing
Love
here
it.
on the
Family
side
vision.
of our mission and pillars, which came out of a family teams conference that we did with those guys. And then
Would you read us the family mission?
you want the whole thing? The
No,
mission
just
is to
the
see
top.
glimpses of God's kingdom expanding in the lives of our family, our city, and the world around us, based on Matthew 6:33.
Awesome.
So yeah, and then
The shofar right here.
Yeah, it's like our
Yes.
Israel shelf kind of up here from stuff from when I went over there, and then we also support it's not a ministry. What do you call? I don't know. An organization that helps vulnerable small businesses in Israel that would be vulnerable to BDS stuff
Mhm.
like boycott, divest, and sanction. And so they buy a whole bunch of stuff from them once a quarter, and then we get a subscription box once a quarter of little cool knickknacks that were made over in Israel. Right?
Yep.
Some of them edible; those don't last very long.
Mhm.
But yeah. So
Is this through Arise?
yes, yeah, through Arise. So that's
Yeah,
all.
I'm happy to
there.
throw a little sunshine their way.
Yeah.
Support Israel, support Arise.
That's right.
So when we bought this place, this room right here right off our front door was supposed to be the formal dining room,
Oh,
which would not fit our family.
Uh huh.
So we turned it into a command center. So this is kind of
Oh,
my
what a
vision
great
that I
idea.
wanted. We come inside, we need a place for the kids to throw their shoes, hang up their coats, just kind of where we organize our lives in here.
And there's a computer in here, so I suppose that if there's scheduling challenges or reservations and all that stuff can be managed right
yeah,
here.
yeah. This is typically where I try to get my work done. But if I'm in here working, the kids kind of flock to me, so I have to.
because you're too available.
Right.
Yeah.
I love calling it a command center, and I see that you have the year.
Yep.
You've got your calendar up here and dry erase.
Yep.
Genius.
I'm a very visual person, so being able to lay out the whole entire calendar year at once helps me a lot to be able to understand what's going on for the year.
That's terrific.
One thing in here, this is kind of a theme throughout the house, but when I do woodworking and build stuff, it makes me feel like I am having some sort of physical, tangible impact on the environment, and it makes me feel like this is my space, and I
Yeah.
have some ownership here. So building this desk and these drawers and shelves and stuff for her when I come in, and all the stuff in here is oh, I can use my hands to make this fulfill the exact vision we have, and yeah. So I don't
That's
know
tremendous.
that doesn't I mean, you could just buy the IKEA stuff. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I just feel something. I feel a sense of pride in the space when it's like stuff I've crafted with my hands.
That's tremendous.
Yeah. That's all.
Excellent.
Give myself a little plug.
All right, I love it.
Yeah.
No, that's helpful for dads to hear.
So, yeah, go ahead.
So now we're in the living room. This
Birthday preparations
Yeah.
are being made, including streamers off of the fan.
got priorities today.
Yeah.
So this one has been a fun space because we started off with our furniture a little bit different than it is right now. We had our rug turned the other way. So then when we were hosting large dinners, we were having to rearrange our furniture every time. So now we finally settled on a space that we can have it far enough over close to the fireplace that we still have space. How many tables do we fit here? Three, and then another kid table.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just moved the console table out, make some space. And we even hosted a friend's going away party. So I think we had like 6 tables in here to fit everybody for a dinner. So
That's great.
It's fun to be able to use a space to.
I remember walking in, and I'm always sensitive to these kind of things. I remember walking in here, seeing there's furniture over there. There's a roller skating rink here. I don't know why they don't use this space, but you do use it when you host.
Just don't set up so we don't have to tear down.
That's
that way it's just
terrific.
available.
That's smart.
And what kid doesn't like wide open spaces
Of
to run
course.
around the house?
Of course.
So it gets
course.
used, but it's to me, it's just peaceful to have empty spaces as well.
That's great.
So they do get utilized, but it's nice to just feel like, okay, and now it's just empty
Yep.
and clear.
Birds.
Yeah, the birds. It's like there's a whole story behind those.
And what are we growing over there?
Oh, those are my herbs that I dug up from the summertime. I have not ever tried keeping plants alive during the winter.
Through the year, yeah.
So I figured, well, we'll dig up everything that I can and see if it survives. That's half of what I dug up is surviving so far. So hopefully the goal is I can plant them again in the spring.
Looking at
We have the Torah, first 5 books of the Bible, up on our wall in the format of the Bible Project posters. Is that what you call them? I know the Bible
Yeah.
Project, but for people who don't know what that is, maybe. But yeah, so we wanted, one, it's a big wall. We're like, how do we cover it? And then 2, we wanted to keep, like, how do we keep the beginning of the story in front of our family and in front of our kids? And especially in a comic strip type format like that, well, they're more interested because all the visuals on it than if I just printed it out in small text and put it up there or something.
You're right.
And so this is an opportunity for the kids to go over, they kind of look at it, and it's not only a reminder of the story to them, but it like keeps like this is the beginning of the story right here, the
That's
first
right.
5 books right here on our wall in a visual way for them. So
this is the
So that's
story
what-
that we're part of.
exactly.
We're jumping onto that thing.
Yep.
That's great.
Kitchen is open enough, so
Big
we can
open
do
kitchen.
the bar for the open house Shabbats. We just set up a taco bar here and makes the kind of the traffic work pretty well. That's all I have to say about the kitchen.
Are
I
there
would say
any?
for open house Shabbat, we do the same dinner every single time, just so that way we can
Smart.
perfect it. And tacos are probably the easiest thing because people can, whatever they're going to bring, I do the meat each time. And then whatever other people are going to bring, they can usually just buy it in a bag at the store and
Yep.
just bring it. So
That's really that's helpful for people to hear because I think people feel the pressure if they ever host Shabbats. Well, we've got to keep it interesting, and no, you don't.
yeah,
The draw is being with other people.
right. And tacos too can go for anyone's diet, really.
Yeah,
So
you can customize it how
Yeah.
you
You
want.
can get a taco down to almost nothing if you
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
I was asking you guys at lunch about kind of the Shabbat components that you include.
Oh yeah.
Are those really different for open house Shabbat versus when it's just Schmoyer family? I know a lot of people who listen to our stuff, maybe the biggest question, most common question we get is, how do I do all this with tiny little kids who lose attention after 30 seconds?
open house definitely looks different than when we have it as our family. We use our family time when it's only us kind of as a training. So that's when Tim's reading, I'm more on top of kids sitting still and paying attention and making sure that they're learning, like, how do we appropriately sit there. I don't know when the last time was that we've had to actually train our kids in that, though. It's probably been about a year, and they've been they know how it's done now.
Yeah.
And then when we have open house Shabbats, that it rubs off on the other kids to kind of see what the expectation is when you're here and listening and sitting. And I mean, when there's little ones like toddlers and everything, they're running around, and I mean, there's expectations because they haven't learned yet. And
Yeah,
that's
it's with
fine.
mixed emotions when I see my 8-year-old reach over and pop another kid on the back of the head for talking during Shabbat. That I kind of think, well, yes and
Yes
no.
and no. All right. Right off of the kitchen there looks like there's a sunroom here. And what I see is very comfy sectional. I see a piano off the side and a couple of guitars hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
Is this an art room, a music room?
Hannah wants to talk about this one?
Yeah.
Okay. This is our oldest daughter. She's 12.
Hello. Is that too close? So me, Ezekiel, and Hallie kind of play piano. And then Mom and Dad, well, Mom, would you consider yourself being able to play guitar?
No.
No? Okay.
One of those is mine.
So I'm hoping after piano I'll learn how to play guitar though. Because that'll just be fun.
I took 12 years of piano lessons and taught for a while and stuff. So
What?
I'll play.
Go play something real quick.
Yeah,
you want me to
go
play?
ahead.
Do you want me to?
Yes, of
Yes!
course.
And piano, Dad.
No, not the guitar. I'll just do
You
something on the
taught
piano real
piano?
quick.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. No,
That I
didn't
taught
know
piano lessons?
that. No.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I'm as good as Steve Emmanuel over here,
Oh,
but
yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Who'd have thunk it?
yep.
Renaissance man. Anybody that has a musical talent and can make things with their hands is a winner in my book.
Oh,
so
right.
that's delightful.
Yeah.
I passed the test.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What else do you guys want to see?
There-
Oh, downstairs? Or you see
Yeah,
bedrooms?
downstairs.
I don't know. I don't know how personal
Well-
you get here.
Bedrooms only if you go like we've made specific choices around them, like to
It might
put
be
kids
easier.
have kids share rooms or
Just
something
to
like
talk
that.
about the room setup. So the house has.
Okay, well let's see that then.
You want to show it or just talk about it? Okay.
I don't care.
Yeah, let's go.
There's 9 bedrooms, so that's why I was like, I don't know if we want to.
Well, one might represent all the choices you make with your kids. I don't know if they're all the same.
So upstairs in our main living area, there's only 3 bedrooms up here. We did, once we go downstairs, we'll talk a little bit more about, we had a missionary family live with us for 6 years. 6 months.
Yeah.
Goodness. And so we did have all of our family up here for 6 months. So now we have it split up. Our boys have one room. Half of our girls have another bedroom.
So how many boys are in this room?
There's only 2 boys in the whole family,
Okay.
so they get their own room.
Okay.
Which means they also get the smallest room. Sorry, boys.
Uh-huh.
And then our girls, we have our 3 littlest girls in one room together. We did have all 5 girls in here at one point together. Trying to convince our oldest one that she really does want to move down to the basement and have some more space. So she finally agreed and tried it out and loves it now. So, but we've made, I mean, because we have, 9 bedrooms total in this whole place?
Yeah.
So we could easily split them all up and let them have their own bedroom,
But-
but we're never going to because we think there's a lot of benefit for them learning how to live with somebody else, and especially if they want to get married one day, and it's not going to be as big of a transition, hopefully,
Yeah.
when you have to
Needs more
share
room for
everything.
hospitality too.
Yeah.
So we can have whole families staying here and have. You know, sorry. You know the Coles, Lucas?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So they lived here for like 2 months, I think. So we can, we don't have to take over all the space ourselves. We can keep some of it open for other
Right,
people. And
right.
Things like that. I think I lost my wife. Not sure where she went. But we can go downstairs.
I've always encouraged single guys that I've discipled to have roommates and try to live in close quarters so that you never get out of the practice of considering others and not acting like the king of your kingdom.
Yeah.
That's smart.
So our basement here is basically a whole nother living unit down here. The living room. There's another kitchen over here. They have their own entry down here, and
Playground here with the padded floor.
Yeah. So during open house Shabbats, the kids usually come down here and just go crazy, which is nice because the adults can still have some quieter conversations.
There's a full
upstairs.
kitchen down here.
There's a full kitchen.
Yeah, there's another full
laundry
kitchen.
room.
There's another laundry room, bathroom, showers. There's a whole nother living unit, really, downstairs. So this is the thing that we're like.
Have you ever made a meal down here?
Yes.
We have.
I
But we've hosted other families that have lived down here, which was one of the things that we didn't expect buying this place.
Oh, I
But then
see.
when we saw it, we're like, oh, we could support missionary
Yeah,
families in
this is
tradition,
like-
or families who just need a place to stay for a while, or overnight Shabbats,
Right.
with some families and
which
stuff.
did not go well when we
Yeah.
did try that.
The kids stayed up too late and ended up throwing up because they got
Of
just sick.
course.
from
Well,
staying
it takes
this
a while
late.
for kids to get settled in a new place. You
Yeah.
usually have to have 2 nights to really make
Yeah.
that successful, and so one didn't work. But I have cooked down here once, right before we had the missionaries move in, because I was like, oh, we should. Oh yeah, Ezekiel, our little 11-year-old chef. Well, you were 10 at that time when you cooked a meal down here. And so we figured before the missionaries move in, we should probably make sure everything works.
Yeah.
So, and they cooked all the time, which was really fun because we would often come down and try what they're cooking.
This home is like 3 houses smashed
It is.
together.
Yeah, it really
Because
is.
the in-law suite's its own full. It doesn't have a washer dryer hookup,
No.
but everything else: bathroom, bedroom, living
Private
room,
apartment. So 2
kitchen.
full houses and an apartment.
So,
I
yeah,
think a lot of people
3 kitchens.
think like you do and say, we would love to be a host family and we would love to have other people and give them space if they wanted to stay for a month. But they think, but homes don't like that, don't exist.
Right.
But this home exists.
Yeah.
You
And
found
we didn't
this.
even have to pay to remodel it. It was.
That's
I mean, it's a little
amazing.
dated, but I mean, it's functional. We can always remodel if you.
Did
really
you buy
want
it from
to.
the person that built it?
No. I
No.
think the 3rd owner.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'd
it's-
love to know what they were thinking.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think the first one did have some relatives living in the house with them. I don't know. And the upstairs and downstairs did have a door to separate them
I
in the
see.
beginning.
I
So
see.
somebody else eventually opened it all up. But
This is our school room. We don't use it much for school, but
That's what you call it.
it's more like the school storage room.
it
Okay.
holds the books.
I see.
Yeah. The kids don't really like doing their school in here. They prefer doing it upstairs where it's more comfortable.
Where the action is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll sometimes use it once a week to check math tests and all that kind of stuff.
But this is the entryway. When I host women's Bible study every
Oh.
week, this is how they come in so that our family can be all upstairs and then they can just come in and not
Mom.
And
interfering
the
in
women's
anything.
Bible study meets in this living
Yeah.
room.
Yep.
Yeah, we noticed that there were several levels of parking pads around here. We're like,
Yeah.
well, we could just, I don't know, let's just drive up
Pick
to
your
the door.
one.
And the TV is down here intentionally too. We don't want one upstairs, just so we don't mind our kids watching TV, but we do it together as a family every other Shabbat. So twice a month they'll watch a movie or get screen time, and we always do it together. So we have it, but it's out of the way. It's not upstairs where like the entire house revolves around that entertainment center.
Say it again. Your children get screen time how often?
Twice
Twice
a
a
month.
month?
Hannah's saying once a month. Sometimes it might work out that way. So basically,
Hey, you watched the football game this past week.
yeah, with the Bengals, that's the first time.
That
So
was for
we
you.
were having a lot of behavior issues and struggles and attitude problems with the kids. And if you have 2 or 3 kids, you will deal with it. But when you have 7, it becomes unsustainable really quickly.
Mm.
And so we are talking to some other fathers that we know in the area, and one dad was like, he does a lot of like clinical research on like child development and stuff, and he's like, screen time and white flour and sugar, take those away, and like 80% of your behavior problems will go away. And so we started looking into that and the science behind how screen time impacts kids developmentally. And it was just shocking. Like all the symptoms were like ones that we were seeing in all of our kids. So, and I feel like a little bit like a hypocrite because I make my living, on YouTube, But
Feeding people who are just in front of screens all the time.
So yeah, my job is to get people to spend more time in front of screens. So for 2020, right, that entire year, COVID hit. So that January, and then COVID started that March, but that whole year, they want a 1-year detox with no screen time for a year, other than FaceTime with grandparents, and their piano lessons are on the iPad.
Wow.
But other than that, no movies, no TV, no YouTube. And now we'll still do it together, but it's not a get out of my hair experience. It's like our family's going to go have this shared experience together.
Wow.
And then talk about it afterwards. And developmentally, that has a much different impact. And all the I'm bored and about 80% of the attitudes and stuff got cleared up with the diet and the screen time. So
The best part about that year, though, was that was the year that the missionaries were living with us. The plan was originally for them to be here for 3 months, but with COVID, it ended up taking 6 months before they could get out to Thailand. And they had 4 kids with them in their family, and they were all around the ages of our kids. And so that helped tremendously to get them outside playing.
And they were on board
being
with
creative.
screenless living.
no, they had screen time.
They
but I
did
don't
have
see.
screens, and I think I heard a couple of times of our kids sitting on the stairs trying to peek and watch.
Is that a
Did-
cartoon in the distance?
How much time were they on screens
Prior.
on average when you guys were noticing it had an impact?
Probably about 5 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
That was my babysitter.
Okay.
Yeah, because Hannah was 8 and I had 7 kids, and
Yeah.
so there was not. In order for me to survive, I had to have the TV on.
And how did you handle it sounds like you probably had an impact of switching to no screens.
The first week was horrible because I
Right.
had no clue what to do with the kids.
And
I
they
was like,
didn't know what to do with themselves
well,
either. That was part of
the
the
first
problem.
week, I don't remember them being so bad. I just remember the first week being horrible for me. But then week 2, I felt like it was a lot worse for the kids because they were like, oh, mom's really holding to her no when she's saying no to every time we ask for a screen.
Wow.
And then by week 3, things were not too bad, I don't feel like.
We were just getting the I'm bored, like the screen literally says, like, shuts down their brain. They can't do problem solving skills. That part of their brain doesn't get developed. And so when they were bored, they didn't know what to do with themselves, and their attitude would just get bad because they didn't develop the skills to know how to solve that problem. So we took the screens away, and developmentally they started, developing a skill, which is a skill I think all parents want their kids to have, because
Yeah.
business revolves around solving problems for people.
Yeah.
And being an employee does the same thing. So I thought that was like, no, we're going to cut this off now, and we did it. So
Y'all are hitting on the possible frustrations with children and specifically a large family. So while we're on the subject, I'll just ask you. You have 7 children.
Yes.
Are you dying?
Not anymore. At one point, yeah.
Okay. And what made the difference?
I think our baby's 4 now is huge. I mean, having 7 kids within 8 years, that really destroyed me mentally and emotionally and physically, because I did not heal between each kid. I don't think in between really, no, only after one kid I really healed. And so having some time was really helpful with that. And then I would say this last year has been huge with Tim kind of realizing his role in that as well, and helping out. So now I get my mornings, that's when I work in our business, is in the mornings, and Tim takes over the morning routine, getting kids off to school and getting breakfast done and everything. So I think learning to parent together as a couple has been huge.
And healthy rhythms that support that.
Oh yeah.
Great. I think people, we can cut that out if you want
No,
to,
that's
but
fine. That's fine with you.
people hear from us like large families, yeah. But I also wanted to hear there's some dangers
Yeah.
involved. There's
Yeah.
some
we tried
specific
solving
challenges.
a lot of those challenges with hiring nannies, and we had a live-in nanny for a year, and then we had
Which that was necessary.
Yeah.
She lived across the
across
street.
the street. We didn't have enough room in our house at that point.
And
but-
she worked for 2 other families at that time, so it wasn't a
Yeah.
full-time for her.
Now you could house a whole team of nannies. You could have a school, a nanny
Well,
school.
the nanny is another one. It solves some problems and introduces others.
Yeah.
So it's not as any choice does, so there's always trade-offs. And at that time, the trade-offs were worth it. At this time.
Until they weren't, and then we don't have a nanny right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's that resonates with us, even having gone from full-time live-in nanny in a smaller family, and then one day going, this is actually better when it's just us at some point, but wasn't always the case. So.
Yeah. But I think there's seasons for everything.
Yeah,
So
no,
there's some seasons where it's super helpful, and then there's some seasons where like we kind of need to be ourselves again.
I hadn't even thought of it until you guys brought it up, but I'm sure you just, like a lot of things, probably felt it magnified because
Yes.
you're dealing with a big group of people.
Yeah.
So
I just heard some of these solutions from other big family people who are like, oh, here's how you solve that problem. And then we're like, that's how you solve that problem, right? Like that worked for your family, but that's why I'm pretty careful. I'm always like, this is what we did.
Sure, sure.
But I don't want to
Prescribe.
We've had the unfortunate implications of following prescriptive advice for a thing that worked very well for maybe that family, maybe another two families, but for
That's
us
fair.
it was not. Every family's different. Every dynamic is different. Every couple marriage is different, right? So it's like,
And
so
we're
it's like, there's
wired.
always trade-offs.
We're wired to be okay with doing trial and error.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we figured out.
Experimenters.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah, you did my
Fair.
risk assessment test. I'm like just shy of gambling, I think. So I'll give anything a shot.
yeah,
Well,
Awesome.
is there anything else you want to tell us about your property or home? that's
I was
come to
gonna
mind?
just show you our back bedrooms down here that we
Please.
have in the basement house.
There's bedrooms back the other way too.
So we got this ready when we moved in here. We were just thinking, you know what, this would be great to have ready for company. And so when the missionary family did move in, we already had furniture set up back here so that they really just had to bring what they wanted. And I also requested dressers from them too. It was like, as a trade-off, if you're going to be living here. So we try to keep it set up and ready so that even at a moment's notice, somebody can come in and be in here. So.
And now, Mark, you understand why one of our family financial goals is to do egress windows back in
oh
all
yeah,
these bedrooms.
because everybody's gonna die if this catches on
Right.
fire.
Well, it's just so dark and it's not very. It doesn't feel hospitable, you know.
Uh-huh.
And we could put more lighting in the ceiling and things like that. But egress windows, I think, would bring in a lot of natural light and just make this feel like a more homey place.
But
So
it
it's
is a
not
perfect
just-
place if you want to just sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
right,
nice and
right,
dark.
right.
Steven would love to sleep
Yes.
down here.
This
This
is
guy, when he has come to my house, he will take a hammer and nails and nail like sheets into the wall,
That's
and then
true.
they leave, and Amelia's like, "Mark, somebody has been nailing things into my walls. What happened?"
You know, you can get a mask.
Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly.
That's not as comfortable to
No,
have that
that's
on your
not.
face.
They don't even have a footboard. It
It's
would be
like
perfect
that
for
is
you.
perfect. It's like on a ship. You know, you don't want the fancy rooms that have balconies. You want the inside where it's completely dark. That's what I.
That's you.
Yeah, that's me.
Every
Oh,
family is different.
Like some
though.
people prefer a way of escape.
Yeah, right. I don't. Yeah. Well, Schmoyers, thank you so much for giving us access to invade your private space and tell us how you use your home to serve your vision. It's really helpful to hear.
Yeah.
It's fun to share because it's stuff that we didn't even see coming whenever